From being filled with nuclear waste to shattering on impact, here are 11 of the most insane bullets in the world. Number 11. Dragon's Breath Rounds. Dragon's Breath rounds consist of mostly magnesium pellets and shards. These are considered some of the coolest and most exotic shotgun rounds ever. It is not considered a tactical load and is really just for fun, although it can be quite dangerous. When shot through a gun barrel, the magnesium reacts vigorously with oxygen to produce a streak of white light and heat, which can extend up to 30 meters, basically turning your firearm into a flamethrower. The spray of flames resembles a dragon's fiery breath, ergo the name Dragon's Breath. They are pyrotechnic shotgun shells and may look cool, particularly in the dark night sky, but these pellets are no joke. They burn at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is sufficient to engulf your target in a hellish inferno. I don't think I have to say this, but just in case, do not ever do this in your house. They are an extreme fire hazard when used in dry areas, especially outside with lots of dry wood and grass. But those in favor of Dragon's Breath claim that magnesium pellets can also serve as distress signals and that these rounds can be a less than lethal option for home defense. Clearly, if you happen to fire these rounds, you might end up burning down your house, the intruder, and yourself. This makes them illegal by default in some U.S. states such as California, Illinois, and Florida. Number 10. Hollow points. Hollow point bullets have exactly that, a hollowed-out shape in the point of the bullet which causes it to expand as it hits its target, therefore causing more damage to tissue. They are outlawed for use in warfare and in many countries and states in the United States, but they are used by some law enforcement personnel and ordinary gun owners in self-defense. Why are they banned in the first place? Because they can expand, explode, and fragment inside a target's body, maximizing damage and pain. Normal shots, which are fully jacketed and rounded with a smooth surface, penetrate a target without expanding. If the body doesn't reduce their speed sufficiently, they just pass through. On the flip side, hollow points stay put. Once they pierce a target, they mushroom, slow down, and rarely pass through so they can be controlled and prevent collateral damage. For example, if they are used to shoot on an airplane. When they are taken out, they leave an abnormally large hole. Law enforcement agencies employ these insane bullets for various reasons. These shots rarely leave the human body, thus posing less risk to bystanders. It is also recommended for self-defense. It seems a little counterintuitive that the bullet that causes more damage is chosen because of their safety for everyone involved. Well, except for the one that gets hit, but most likely, I guess they deserved it. Number 9. Railgun Projectiles. Actually, who needs bullets at all anymore? The U.S. Navy electromagnetic railgun is essentially a super weapon. This futuristic projectile is safer to stockpile than explosive ammunition and much cheaper. The railgun can fire a hardened projectile and blast anything it hits like a meteorite from outer space. Railguns are experimental devices that use electromagnetic fields to launch high-velocity projectiles at a target. Years of research accumulated in the 2010 test at the Naval Surface Warfare Center in Virginia, where BAE Systems fired a 3.2 kilogram projectile at 33 megajoules. 1 megajoule is equivalent to the energy produced by the impact of a 1-ton car traveling at 100 miles per hour. Now picture 32 airborne cars aimed straight at you. The railgun-fired projectile hit targets 100 miles away. The railgun has cost about $500 million since its inception, but because they are so dangerous, they have not yet been tested enough to be used in battle. As the Navy has developed the electromagnetic railgun, it has also been investing in hypervelocity projectiles, HVPs, which is a low-drag spike that the railgun can use for ammo. How's that for a bullet? HVPs can be fired using other types of weapons, so now the Department of Defense is actually much more interested in the projectiles than the railgun. These HVPs can fly through 7 steel plates, no problem. Plus, they only cost about $25,000 per round, which is peanuts when you consider that a Tomahawk or a Harpoon missile costs over $1 million per unit. See, it's all about perspective. While the US has been losing interest, other countries haven't given up. As of last year, January 2017, Russia unveiled a deadly electromagnetic railgun that can fire bullets at 3 kilometers per second. Did you catch that? Per second. Also recently, it came out that the Chinese had a ship with their own electromagnetic railgun. In the future, railguns could become commonplace since they reduce the need for explosives on ships. Ironically, the railgun, which causes so much destruction, once again is actually safer. And now for number 8. But first, who do you think developed bullets with nuclear waste? Write your answer in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe! Number 8. The 577 Tyrannosaur. For those not acquainted with the T-Rex, it was one of the deadliest carnivorous dinosaurs ever, with teeth the size of bananas. What's more, it could swallow 500 pounds of flesh in one bite. If you want to learn more, just watch my video on the largest carnivorous dinosaurs of all time. Anywho, the 577 T-Rex rifle carriage is not a dino, but it's equally deadly. It's an insanely powerful bullet made by A-Square in 1993 for professional hunting guides in Zimbabwe. Tasked with the risky job of protecting clients on hunting expeditions, they needed a bullet that could stop a charging animal like a furious buffalo or an elephant instantly. A-Square's solution was a 14.9mm, 49-gram solid projectile that dwarfed other hunting rounds. Only the company's monster Hannibal rifle could handle the shot. As is to be expected, several people on YouTube have attempted to fire this monster, with sometimes funny and other times painful consequences. Why? Because the shot produces a powerful recoil that leaves the shooter reeling in agonizing shoulder pain. The impact is more than 1.5 times the force of a gunshot in the shoulder with a .22 hollow point bullet. So, if you have a loaded Hannibal rifle sitting by, remember that medical care is not cheap, especially if you live in the United States. Number 7. Nuclear bullets. After the collapse of the USSR, the media started reporting on the presence of a mysterious weapon developed since the 1960s. According to the original article, which was published in Russian, Soviet physicists were producing nuclear bullet fillers out of an element called californium. To cause a nuclear explosion, uranium-235 or plutonium-239 is enriched up to 90%, and through fission and fusion, voila, major explosion. However, the explosion will not occur until you have a critical mass of the substances, around 1 kilogram for uranium and plutonium. But they are not the only radioactive materials that can cause a bang. Californium, which has a lesser critical mass of just 1.8 grams, could be packed into small containers, like bullets. Californium used in the project was possibly derived as a byproduct of nuclear weapons testing by the Soviets at their infamous Semipalatinsk test site, also known as the Polygon. It's alleged that their atomic bullet was about 14.3 millimeters to 12.7 millimeters, making it suited for arming heavy machine guns. Supposedly, they also engineered smaller 7.6 millimeter bullets to fit in Kalashnikov assault rifles like the AK-47. When one thermonuclear bullet exploded, the heat could liquefy an armored tank. Several of these insane bullets could vaporize a brick-story building. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's what the report said. Radioactive substances are unstable and must decay and then become stable. This process produces lots of heat, so the Soviets had to refrigerate their nuclear bullets at all times and use special vehicles to transport them. There was always the danger of the bullet getting stuck in the barrel, or even self-detonating, resulting in radiation exposure and death. Can you find these legendary bullets on eBay? Probably not, but researchers speculate that some are in private collections or museums. Some claim that it's just a hoax and they never existed in the first place. Number 6. Depleted uranium silver bullets. While Soviet nuclear bullets read like science fiction, depleted uranium bullets, DUs, are pure fact. These rounds penetrate through thick, hardened steel, making them the ultimate tank killers. They also ignite spontaneously upon impact due to the pyrophoric nature of uranium and steel. If you're fighting an enemy with DU fire, a fast-moving and well-protected tank is actually not the place to be. Why use radioactive nuclear waste as ammo? Tungsten is also used for anti-tank rounds, but it can shatter on impact at extreme velocities. Depleted uranium rounds, on the other hand, vaporize armor and explode inside with a devastating effect. NATO armies are notorious users of DU rounds in conflicts overseas. Truth seekers assert that big players in the nuclear sector have colluded with the military in order to dispose of toxic wastes in hostile countries. Back in 2001, the UN found fragments of depleted uranium ammunition in Kosovo. These bullets dropped by US pilots are suspected to be the cause of high rates of leukemia in the region today. Number 5. Flash Thunder Grenade Ammo. The Flash Thunder grenade ammo is not your typical shotgun round. A shot produces a blinding flash and an extremely powerful blast of 182 decibels. At just a little more, 195 decibels, the human eardrums rupture. Jet planes taking off only produce 165 decibels. Therefore, this insane ammo can cause permanent hearing loss without adequate ear protection. It's being used by some special forces units to storm buildings during military operations. Number 4. Macho Gaucho rounds. Macho Gaucho rounds mimic the appearance of the bolas, a device made by linking two heavy balls with a string of 1 to 2 feet. Gauchos, or South American cowboys, have used this contraption for hundreds of years to hunt game and capture cattle, since it entangles the animal's legs, causing it to trip. The concept has been carried forward to the 21st century in the form of deadly 12-gauge shotgun rounds. Macho Gaucho rounds can cause devastating damage to targets. You can find several videos of the round being fired, but the balls don't always stay connected, so you can just imagine the consequences. Number 3. Jihad ammo. Labeled as the most controversial round in the universe, the Jihad ammo is the subject of much criticism and ridicule, even in the gun-owning community. Its creators, believed to be some Idaho gun owners, were sitting around a campfire enjoying their drinks. They were infuriated by the construction of a 13-story Islamic center in Lower Manhattan, 2 blocks from Ground Zero. They sought to find a way to counter any future insurgents. Their solution? Create bullets considered haram, or forbidden by Allah. Somehow they convinced South Fork Industries, a dyeing and finishing company, to take up the challenge and infused paint with the meat of domestic pigs, which was subsequently coated on standard 9mm caliber rounds. During the ammo's release in 2013, the company stated that with Jihad ammo, you don't just kill an Islamist terrorist, you also send him to hell. Of course, they became highly controversial. The company fired back, saying that their ammo was not to be offensive, but defensive. Shannon Dunn, an assistant professor of religious studies at Gonzaga University, weighing in on the matter, stated that Muslims unknowingly hit by South Fork's bullets might not be banned from heaven. Number 2. Punt gun shells. The punt gun is the largest shotgun ever, used avidly by wildfowl hunters in the 19th to 20th centuries. A typical punt gun averaged 8 feet 4 inches in length, weighed 43 kilograms, and had a bore diameter of 2 inches. By all standards, this was a very large gun. In some old pictures, you'll see 2 men carrying the gun on their shoulders. They would mount it on a small skiff boat called a punt, and the hunter had to maneuver the entire boat to aim the gun at a flock of fowls. The large bore diameter ensured it could fire 500 grams of shotgun pellets, which could kill up to 90 birds in one go. Its invention and use were to quench the insatiable demand for bird feathers in the fashion industry. Naturally, the populations of wildfowl were greatly affected and the punt gun was outlawed. Number 1. G2 Research Rest in Peace Bullet. Topping this list of insane bullets is the radically invasive projectile, nicknamed the Rest in Peace bullet. Many consider it the world's deadliest bullet, and the manufacturer markets it as the last round you'll ever need. Its lethality stems from its unique tip, which allows it to shatter upon impact, producing shards. The manufacturer, G2 Research, claims that the bullet can open 9 separate wound channels in a target and obliterate vital organs. Get this, they made them for women who are living alone and anxious about their family's safety. Those who have tested RIP bullets on various targets, such as sheets of metal, glass, plywood, and blocks of ice, have marveled at their damaging power. So unless you're battling zombies, lock these bullets in a safe. Thanks for watching! Do you have any experience with these bullets? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!